How has this shaped you? And I know that can be a question of just like,
Yeah, it's like,
what has it done to you as a person?
that's a good question. Like, what has it done to me? It has made me realize that dreams do come true. How cliche, but it's the truth. It's shown me that it is possible. Like, I, just as blindly as I came to this country and like, I'm gonna do it. I don't know exactly how, but I'm gonna do it. I dreamt about working with Steven Spielberg as one of my goals as an actor one day. But it was so hypothetical. And then there it is. It happened. I was looking at a poster yesterday and it's like, that's the movie that I was in. I was in a movie. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a Steven Spielberg film. I know him. That's like mind blowing. Hi, my name is Ilda Mason and this is Cafecito One-on-One. Storytelling time. My first thing with art was ballet, I think. Around, I was like 5 years old, maybe. I did a bit of everything. I was very fortunate. My parents like allowed me to explore and do like try painting but it was always like dance or mostly dance. Like as kids, as young people, we're just like, oh, I want to do this because I like it, I enjoy it, not because like, well, this will one day help me for my career and my technique. I remember a moment in which I did realize that I missed being on stage. I went to one of my best friend's ballet recital. It was at the National Theater, stunning theater. I think that's the only performance I had seen there my whole life. And being in the audience, I felt longing for that. And I was like, I miss that. I miss ballet. I don't know if it was like I miss ballet, but I miss being on stage. So I decided to try again. Studied ballet again for 2 years when I was already like, I don't know, 16, 17, which is old. But my only ballet competition that I went was in Italy in 2014. And I fell in love with architecture. So that's another connection to art. And I was just so impressed by everything that I just knew that I wanted to learn about it. Later on, I would go to study architecture as a plan B, but I knew that I wanted to do musical theater, film, TV. I knew. I knew that I was going to study architecture as a plan B. Because eventually, we do need to provide for ourselves. And I did move countries to be able to do what I love for a living. And when I am doing it, yes, I can live off it. But when I'm not, then what do? It requires a lot of planning, a lot of budgeting, a lot of, discipline. Also just being like, okay, this is how much money I have, this is how much time, I don't know when my next job is gonna be, so it's time to make decisions. I need to find another side hustle to do while I'm between jobs. So my plan was, without even knowing all of this, I just had the idea that, okay, this is gonna be competitive, period. I didn't want to be scared of New York or the industry more than I could have already been. So, but I knew that it was like, okay, it's gonna be very competitive. So while I'm not working, doing what I love, I want to be able to do something else that will allow me to provide for myself. So I was like, enter architecture. I can do this. I can have a degree. The thing is, I technically could have done it. I could have worked remotely from here, but doing, remote work that would just require me to send stuff online, which was not my forte. My forte was creating models and doing stuff like that. That was my favorite thing.
Okay.
I never really developed my skills in rendering, which is the perfect skill to have for when you are for architecture and to work too. Exactly and to work abroad. I could have worked on that and send stuff back to Panama, no problem. But I cannot legally work in the United States as an architect because I don't have the legal
documentation.
Yeah. Everything happens for a reason because I did not develop my skills on rendering because that was not really taught at university. We had to learn that, off hours.
Oh.
Off hours, that doesn't mean like extracurricular skills learning. You had to learn that on your own, basically. And all my time away from school was being used in theater, which was not great for architecture, but definitely great for now my career here.
Yeah.
This was very weird because I knew that as soon as I finished architecture, I was gonna move abroad and study musical theater and acting for film. And friends were like, great, where are you gonna do that? I don't know. In what school? I don't know. How are you gonna do that? I don't know. Like, it was just the oddest thing, which I appreciate a lot now looking back, because if I had known all that came with it, it would have been very easy to be discouraged or afraid of starting. Just like we get overwhelmed as adults of like, how, like the many steps and it's difficult. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't.
Do you think that overall this trusting is something that's innate in you, that has served you well in your life and your career? Just like trust that things are gonna work out.
I mean, definitely it has been helpful. Definitely. And I think it is innate in me because of how I was brought up. I think my parents would very seldom, not that I was spoiled, but they would like let me try new things. They're like, okay, let's see how we can do that. Yeah, let's see how we can make that happen. Was what my dad would say.
Wow.
Whenever big things would come, it's like, okay, let's see how we can make that work. I've realized that a passion is not something that it's not fabricated, it cannot be taught, it comes from within. And I believe that for that to happen, you need to explore, you need to allow yourself to be curious.
Yep.
Which at a more advanced age, I found that it's a little more difficult because we think so much about the process of things, about how long will it take, what if I don't succeed, what if I like the resources, how much
the outer voices for me.
Even as simple as like how much would a, let's say, singing lesson would cost, and it's like, well, I can't afford that at the moment.
How do you foster that as an adult now?
The first thing that comes to mind is a support system that you can rely on when you yourself start doubting. At times you will feel like it's overwhelming, that is difficult, because it is. And it's nice to have someone that you can talk to, just vent, or, just share your experience. I have recently found like a cycle in my auditions. I've told my friends, and it's like, because the work of, I've learned, or at least in my experience, the work of an actor is you audition, and that's a full-time job. And somehow you also need to do something else to survive, right? To like pay the bills.
Yeah.
And then there's the job. And then while you're doing that, you still have a life and things to do. But that job will end eventually, and then you will be back at the other full-time job, which is this, right? So my cycle of auditions, like psychologically, I found that it's like, there are auditions that I'm like, oh, this is it, this is gonna be huge, I'm gonna make it, oh my god, I have a great feeling, I need to book this. Other auditions that are like, okay, here we go. And then after, many auditions, then it's like, well, what is this for? Is anything worth it? They're not even gonna see it. Why am I working so hard? And
it's really not stable.
It's not, but it is a cycle. Honestly, that's about it. It's like coming to terms with going with the flow. For me, not being uber discouraged by not being able to plan ahead. It is a blessing at times, but at times it's just nerve-wracking. I want to know what I'm doing next month. I want to know if I can book tickets to go visit my family in Panama, or if I'm gonna have a job, or if I'm gonna, it kind of doesn't rely on me. I have to at times make an executive decision. At times, all the time. It's okay, executive decision, here we go. I'm gonna buy the plane tickets, and I'm gonna pay for all the extras of like, okay, you can cancel, you can change, you can switch for a different date.
Okay, so like cushions that
little cushion.
Yeah.
But little cushion that is like, yes, I don't want to lose however much I paid for the plane ticket, but also you will be turning my life upside down if I don't go to this thing that I already planned, which has happened. Like that literally happened a couple months ago. And a trip that was supposed to be a month for a wedding and to be with my parents for a month turned to 48 hours. But it was great because I had a job. And by now my parents are like, yeah, you do what you gotta do, you know?
You ride those waves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it is easier said than done. Like I'm telling you now, like, and yes, and it was great, and I just went with the flow. When I got the call, I was like, why does this happen this way? Why can I, you know, like it's upsetting, and I'm working on just like, no, don't let it. That's the way it is. Accept that it will always be ever changing. It's not stable. It's part of the beauty of it. You know, but just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Yes, and
to me, and you'll probably like,
oh no.
To me, you must be quite the master of handling expectations.
How come?
With something like West Side Story, where they do an audition process that it's for the sake of like authenticity and giving opportunity, right? That was very well known, that it was just like this long process.
Yeah.
Which we know can turn into a process of months, right?
It was a year.
It was a year
For
of
me.
auditioning.
Yeah.
Just the audition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, from
And
the
you
moment that I
keep
first
sending
sent my
tapes,
first self-tape to I got the call, it was a year and 2 months.
And you kept sending tapes in that year? Like,
No.
or just the one
No.
that they kept deciding?
Oh, no. It was I sent a tape that was like you singing 2 songs. Boom. Sent it.
Okay.
And they're like, thank you for sending your da-da-da-da. We'd like to see you. They gave me a call back with material from the movie. And it was
How long between the first tape and the callback?
not too far. It was like maybe 2 weeks.
Okay.
Boom. Then did that, submitted that. Got another call back to go in person. They were looking for Anita at that time.
Okay.
Go in person. That was the fastest audition of my life. Literally got there and didn't even have time to put my boots on before they were like, we're ready for you. I'm like, oh, great, okay. Went in, did the thing. Thank you so much. Then it was months before dance auditions for the ensemble. And
what do you do with that? Do you put it in a back drawer in your head as to not be like obsessing about it? Do you just try to let it go? Do you foster the thought of like that's gonna happen? What's your process with dealing with that time lapse of expectation of the waiting?
I was not stressing during that time.
Okay.
Which is odd. So I imagine that I must have been like, someone must have said like, oh, don't worry, we'll have more auditions for other characters later. Or like right now we're just looking for Anita, and I'm like, great, like I can be someone else.
Gotcha. So it seemed a little bit, the stakes were lower because it just seemed like more opportunity could come.
Exactly.
Okay.
More opportunity could come. Then months later, they were doing the dance auditions, and I got an email again from them. Hi, we're now seeing that. We'd like to invite you to come dance. And it was like New York, and I was touring at that time with On Your Feet, and I was a swing, the only female swing. So everyone, of course, in a Latinx cast tried to go audition. Not everyone could go at the same time, but I was definitely not allowed to go because I had to cover for the people who were going. So there was auditions in New York, then there were auditions in LA, and we were in San Francisco at that time. So we were so close. My parents were there because they were visiting. It was...
So this was like a collective frustration from the cast because a lot of people were in that situation?
Honestly, it brought a little drama. Because at times it was like not everyone can go at the same time. Oh, how could this person leave?
Why do they get the chance?
Exactly. Even when I finally got an opportunity, they were the last auditions were in Miami, and I put my submission in as soon as possible. It was granted, so everyone knew that I was gonna be out of town for this audition. And someone else called out, and somehow it was my fault that I was not there. It was like. It was unfair.
Like at the bottom of the food chain of just like you're this way and that's
your job, which was very sad. But I was I legally was able to go to this audition. But yeah.
Okay. Okay, so it worked out.
It worked out. I mean, I went to the audition.
Clearly it worked out.
I went. It was 2 days of dancing. Got to sing, read. I remember going to that audition, and they were. I mean, the breakdown was like, we're looking for like people who can portray like 16, 18-year-olds. Da da da. We're like, yeah, okay, cool. But then I go to the dance audition, and literal 15-year-olds show up. And there I am, like, where's the collagen in my face? It's not here. It's not here with me. I remember taking a selfie, being like,
comparison.
Do I look young? Like, do I look old? I was old. I was like 29 when I auditioned for that.
Yeah, but comparison is the worst, right, enemy. I mean,
yeah.
Like, yeah.
No, terrible. Because, and that's the thing, like, you never know what they're looking for. So just like, the only thing you can do is just be yourself. So go, do you. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, then bye. Another thing, right? Yeah. So did that. Like a week later, got an email saying, oh, Steven Spielberg loved your audition. We would love to bring you back to work more. Crazy. Literally, the first person I called was our stage manager. So it's like, I need to. Like, not my mom, not my dad. I need to go. They sent me this. They're like, you're going, go.
Okay.
And that was the last one in New York. It was, again, 2 days, not that many people. It felt incredible. We met the whole team. It just felt so...
Was Steven Spielberg there?
Steven Spielberg was there. Janine Tesori, Tony Kushner, Justin Peck. Everyone was there.
Okay.
Everyone was there. It was wild. And at the same time, it felt so incredibly amazing because it felt like a community, all the sharks dancing together. I got to sing, and Steven was like, you have a lovely voice, which I was like, thank you.
Back to it, yeah.
I was like, thank you. Trying to be a normal person.
Yeah.
And there is when the stress started. So after those 2 days.
Now that you feel so close to the inner
so
circle,
close,
right?
Yeah.
You feel like you're a part of it in a sense already.
Yeah.
You've gotten a taste of that.
Yeah. I remember the pain that I was feeling when I was not sure if I could go to the audition. The pain that I felt when I was not allowed to go. And I was just like, it was pure angst. Like, I just want an opportunity. And this is an opportunity. There are not many open calls. And this is one of them. And I can definitely do this. You know, it's like I felt so, I can do this. I speak the language. That's my story, my people. Like, I may not be Puerto Rican, but that's like our shared, that's one thing I learned from On Your Feet. It's like all of our like Latinx, like Latin America in general. It's like, I feel like we're one. It's a shared culture, feeling, history, I don't know. And I just felt like, let me do this. Please let me do this. And when I couldn't audition, it was heartbreaking. When I could audition and then did it, I was like, there, like, come on. Like, I have pages upon pages on my journal of like just essays written to the teams if I could actually tell them.
These pages on your journal, they're what? What is that doing for you in this process?
This process is just me, I guess, letting that passion out.
As opposed to just being this confounding thing inside of you, just turning, that's an outlet. Yeah,
I like writing for when I'm upset, when I'm worried, if anyone reads my journal, it's terrible. People are gonna think I'm crazy because it's just heightened emotions. It's just like, please let me do this. Let me have this opportunity. It's just like putting it out there.
Speaking about building confidence, right? It seems like that's what it's doing for you because you're like putting in written word this like, I know I can do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
okay.
You're right. Okay. It's like it evolves. Like it starts as something and then it ends up being. I have after almost every award show that I've seen, I go to my journal and I'm like, one day, I am going to be there. People are gonna know my name. I will be there, not because people will know my name, but like I will be there because I have done something that has touched people. I will be there because I would have done something great that you know, someone else would be like, yeah, we want to, no sé, reconocerte.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to this, it's like, it was, people got the job the day of. People got the job the day, like weeks later.
Uh-huh.
Some of my cast got the call, yeah, like the following week.
Uh-huh.
And there I had to just be like, no, it's still out there, like just putting it out there. Personally, I was already, there was no point in pretending like, well,
Whatever.
if it didn't happen, no.
Yeah.
I was already to it. You know, it's like, okay, I'll let it go.
Uh-huh.
And if it happens, it's great.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna like pine.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
gonna be like, the whole time. This was not that. There was no
wasn't
way
an
for
option.
me to like pretend like
Uh-huh.
if it didn't happen, it was not gonna be heartbreaking.
Yeah.
No point in pretending. So I was like, I'm gonna put all my energy into that this is gonna happen. And it hurt a lot to sustain that. And to hear, oh my God, this person got it. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, so that's been this long. Okay,
Uh-huh.
that's great. They're still assigning people, but all the roles may have been already assigned. Someone said that I have photos of like vacations, and I'm like, I know exactly what I was thinking about. I was not enjoying my vacation. I was just looking at my email the whole time because I wanted to know if I had booked the movie.
Yeah.
It was...
And it was, I mean, I think this common thread, right, of just like the comparison is really the enemy, right? Because what gave you that anxiety is knowing that other people were getting it,
Yeah.
right? Not yourself, not the work you've done,
Yeah.
the auditions.
But
Yeah.
because I'm thinking, well, casting is clearly...
Happening.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's happening.
Yeah.
It's not like they're like, oh, we can sit.
Yeah.
No, it's happening.
Yeah.
People are getting offers, da da da. And this time was also, and this is the bad part, is like, I should have done this. Oh, if I had been sexier. I remember this girl. She was so blah. If I only had been more that.
Yeah.
Or do-do-do.
Yeah.
Building this thing that like completely out of my control. Not genuine also, because they were just looking for us, you know,
Yeah.
for whatever we were.
Yeah.
Because they were looking for authentic Latinx people.
Yeah.
So what am I trying to be? Why if I've already written so much about I can do this, let me do this, why am I trying to then like pretend like it's something else?
Yeah.
Like this is it.
Yeah.
People are special for the thing that they are. So it had been a long time. I had gotten a couple calls from casting, be like, it's not over, it's not closed, they're still thinking they love you, but we don't, they're still blah, blah, blah. And then one day out of the blue, in April, the last audition was October 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I get the call and they tell me that they would love to have me as Luz, that I'm gonna be featured, that the team loves me and they're excited to work with me, that other people are gonna call me for, like Fox is gonna call me, 20th Century Fox is gonna call me for stuff with contracts and blah and agents, and I'm like, I didn't even cry because I was so overwhelmed. I called my mom, I told her, and she said, did you call your dad? I called my dad because they were at work.
So that's would you say that's the thing to do? It's so disorienting and so overwhelming that the only thing to do is talk about it until it becomes real, kind of thing.
I guess so, yeah. Even now, it's happened. And whenever someone's like, oh, I saw the movie, da, 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 it's like, it feels like an out-of-body experience. It feels like, oh, it did happen. I cannot believe it did happen, because this part that I'm telling you right now is so fresh. It's tattooed in me. The whole thing is tattooed in me. Like the angst, the longing, the please let me do it, then being able to do it, then like trying to prove myself that I like, yes, this is what I bring to the table, trying to be a normal person in front of Steven Spielberg.
You're in a kind of like a unique position in that you've been in a West Side Story staging,
Yes.
and on a film. Not a lot
Yes.
of people can say that.
Yeah, it's wild.
So can you talk about the conversations that were had during those two processes about why is it beneficial to bring that back and the different takes that the Broadway and because they were quite different, right? Quite
Yeah,
different
completely
takes.
different. Yeah.
Can you say something about that?
Yeah, I mean, West Side Story sadly will always, I don't want to say will always, but like, sadly West Side Story is still relevant today as it was 60 years ago. I think art should touch people, should teach us, and West Side Story is a masterpiece in showing us what our society is doing, how we are treating each other, how we are forgetting that we're just humans. So I think it's a great story to always have there in hand, to put a mirror to society and it's like, see, there, how you're treating yourselves? You think this is crazy? You're doing exactly that. That's exactly what's happening out in the streets every single day. So we had conversations of, with the film, more about, I don't want to say getting it right, but like making the Puerto Rican side of the story as genuine as possible. So we, like Tony Kushner worked a lot with a group of Puerto Ricans from the cast who then helped shape part of like the script and make sure that things were set correctly, then were accurate.
So they did rely in the cast, on the cast, to bring that.
Yes.
So they kind of like selected the Puerto Rican is in the cast and they involved them in the writing process.
Yeah, that was incredible. It was, they put a lot of love and a lot of work into it. We had, my first day of rehearsal was, we had people, like a panel to talk to us about everything. We had, and there was a policeman, there was a historian, there was just like a bit of everything. And there was just someone who grew up in a neighborhood that was similar to the one in the story. So we got to see all these points of view of what was happening actually during that time and how it affected their lives, how the gangs worked, how, it was just so incredible to do that work before we even started doing anything else. Just to know, to understand the lives of these characters, which is something I really liked about the movie. How it like went deeper into, well, yeah, sure, they would want to be more than they are, but this is generations of has brought them to this point.
Yeah. And as you're talking about them relying on the Puerto Rican, was this? I know this is a general conversation that's happening within the Latin American community of like, right? And we haven't come to a conclusion or anything, but it's visual representation versus cultural, right? And what does that do? Was that a part of the conversation at all of if the writing gets it right, as long as it's visual representation, even if you're not right, maybe Puerto Rico, like Rachel, it's like, but it gets the work done, right? Just like that visual representation, that it's as important, if not more, than the cultural representation. Because that's taken care of in the script, you can argue, right?
Yeah.
So was that something that's been on your mind at all in this process?
It's something that was definitely broadened my perspective a lot, which was a very nice journey to go through, to realize, and which I would love for more people to actually understand, is that people in Latin America come in all shapes, sizes, forms, colors, and our individual cultures are so rich. At the same time, we share the culture. However, I really appreciated having people from different nationalities interpreting Puerto Ricans. Like Rachel, she's Colombian American, and I thought what she did was incredible, was flawless. What was also very interesting to see was the journey of the people who are Latinx but were born here in the United States, but their heritage is Latinx, and how that has shaped them. They're people who are experiencing a struggle, in a sense, of where do I belong, or like language barriers, or these things that even us as Latinx people can be like, oh well, you don't speak the language, but why is that a thing? Like, why do we focus so much on these negative things? It's more complicated than I can actually say it, but it was just very eye-opening to see the other side of people who are from here and who want to connect as much as possible and bring into their lives what I grew up with, the language that I spoke every day, whereas I'm here trying to speak English, so it was a really beautiful way, I think, to come together and to learn from each other. I loved whenever anyone from our cast would ask me, like, oh, how do you say this? Is this correct? Is this da-da-da? I really appreciated that, because I love sharing my language and my culture, and I don't know, it really brought us together. I don't think that was your question initially,
because it's part, right? It's part of this policing of what, right? The Latinidad, just like, because you weren't born in Latin America, that you're not, but right, and it's like we put people in a no man's land of just like, you belong nowhere, right? So I'm sure this just felt like coming home to a space where everybody could belong, and be part of the same culture, in a sense. Hopefully,
I hope that we were able to do that for the people who were feeling that way. I hope that they felt safe. I hope that they felt that we were open. I think that's the only thing we can hope for.
Yeah.
I feel that way about when people are like, oh, you're in America, speak English. I'm like, but there's so many people here. They're from all over. Learn another language.
Which is why the movie is in Spanish too, right?
Oh, I love that. No subtitles. It was a wonderful thing a wonderful gift for the people of that speak Spanish. I want to say habla hispana. That speak Spanish. That it's just it's for them. And at the same time, in my mind, I hope that if anyone missed something because they don't understand Spanish and saw someone laughing at a joke, they would reach out and like, what was that? Maybe at the end of the movie or during. I don't know. I hope that was my ideal, coming together and talking about it. I know we do that a lot in theater, but I would hope that at the movies people would do that as well, or even watching it at home. Like, okay, so what was that?
Yeah.
Tell me. And then sharing, having that
curiosity as opposed to shutting down.
Exactly. And for the audiences that only speak English, to also experience a little bit of feeling a little lost, figuring it out, because everything important was said in English and in Spanish. I did kind of not notice it because I did speak both languages, but when I paid really close attention, you can see that so everyone did understand everything.
Yeah.
But there was a moment in which it's like, what is happening, and figuring it out, and that's what we do as people whose first language is not English. We navigate this world, kind of figuring things out and going along with it. Even after speaking fluently for many years, still learning new things and okay, that's how you say that. Great. Or new phrase, new thing, new saying, new word, new pronunciation.
Yeah. I remember in the Cafecito that you were with us. You said you described when I came to America in the business and they put me in a box.
Yeah.
And you said, in this beautiful little box.
Yes.
So
yes.
I just wonder if you could speak a little bit to that of just because I often said I feel restrained in this, but it was so refreshing to hear you refer to the box they've given me this gift. So if you could just say something about it, just as a way to close.
Well, yeah, it's something that I never felt in Panama because we just are there. Everyone is mixed. Da-da-da. When I got here, then it was what are you? Oh, you're Latina. And it is the biggest gift. It is not only because I get to be able to be part of projects like West Side Story or to, in the Heights, things like these that celebrate our culture so much, but because I get to proudly show off where I'm from, I think that's part of it. I have never had to feel, which I think is a big privilege, I've never had to feel like I need to be like the people who are from here. I've never felt like I need to fit in that sense. I mean, yes, fit in. Yes, we all do feel that from the time, right?
Yeah.
I've wanted to fit in, but never to like the point that I'm like, well, I can't speak Spanish. I can't make the food that I like. I can't share that. Never. I was always welcomed. And in the world of the arts, these stories are coming more to life and being brought to the front, and we're able to tell our stories. It's just really empowering. I say it's a privilege because I know it's because of the time that I came to this country, because that's not the same as 20 years ago, so I do cherish a lot being able to be a proud Latina in this country, and I know for sure that it's because of the work that everyone else that's come before me has done already. The opportunities that they did not get, it's the work that they did, the fights that they had, for me to be able to be here today and enjoy, you want to listen to our story? Yeah, sure. What do you want to know?
What a beautiful, there is a place for us. Right?
There is a place for us. And I've recently started doing a list of one of the last things that I thought was like me trying to fit in. I started a list on my phone that is like artists with an accent. Because for the longest time I was like, I need to get rid of my accent. I need to speak in a certain way. And yes, that definitely will come in hand for certain roles that I hope to aspire to do one day.
Yeah.
But I don't think I have to delete completely the way I speak, because it brings my history, my culture, my people, my country with me to the rooms that I'm in, the conversations that I have, and I can share it. It's wonderful I like it when people are like, where are you from? And I can tell them where I'm from and tell them about my country and the things that, it opens that conversation and not, I really enjoy that. But also I enjoy languages. So maybe that's me being romanticizing it and just thinking that, because I do love people who speak with accents. I enjoy accents because to me it's a goal of mine is also to speak many languages. So I'm like, yeah, good for you. You're here speaking another language and not falling into the traps of, well, I'm scared to speak because I don't sound exactly how it should be. So I admire that very much. If you speak however you speak, bring it on, be yourself, and that will free you to do so many other things. If only we could just be, this is to myself also, like if I could just do things without the repercussion in my mind of how it would come off or how would it be perceived. What if I fail? It doesn't matter. Just go for it. Try and make it full of yourself. Easier said than done, but yes, try.
Ilda, thank you so much.
Thank you.